Oh my god, I'm your biggest fan.
Hello?
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to my review of the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Abomination Build-A-Figure Wave Miss Marvel. This, of course, being from the Avengers video game. And, yeah, let's just get into it. And getting her out of the box, she's a very nice-looking figure, but does have some pretty major faults in my eyes. So, just going over the overall look, the aesthetic, it's the video game version of Miss Marvel. I can't really fault it. It looks pretty accurate to how it does in the game. You've got a little detail on the scarf with, I guess it's like an energy blast look to it, like a flame sort of deal. You have the nice decal of the lightning bolt, the classic Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel sort of look to it. And overall, the colours are pretty nice. It's a little bit darker on camera than it actually is in person, and I actually quite like it in person. On camera, I will admit it does look very dark, but yeah, in person it looks really nice. It's like a light, almost like a chalky blue, which is quite nice. The face, it does have face printing, and it looks pretty good all in all, but there's something that's just kind of not there for me. I'm not sure what it is. It doesn't look as cartoony as some of the older Hasbro Star Wars Black Series figures, but it also doesn't look as good as a lot of the movie Marvel Legends, which it's hit or miss, really. I think the lips are real well done, but the eyes, there's something... I don't know whether they're maybe a little bit too big, a little bit too cartoony, but something about them just isn't quite right to me. The hair is also very plain, but it does look pretty good overall. Like, in terms of just accuracy, it is very nice. And generally, yeah, it's a very nice detailed figure, just maybe lacking in a little bit of paint. And then on top of that, there is the thing of the forearm is molded in red and then painted with the skin tone, meaning you can see on the very end of the wrist it's not painted there. It shows a lot of red through. It's less of an issue on the arm because of the gauntlet, but on this hand it is very noticeable, and I'm not really a huge fan of it. I saw it from the actual box, and I was like, this isn't great, but it's alright. You don't notice it from a distance, and I think that is the nicest thing I can say about it. I also have a little scuff mark just there, which I'm not sure if that's dirt or some sort of paint skew or something, but there's a little mark right there. I'm not too happy with that, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the aesthetic. Moving on to articulation, there is a hinge and ball at the neck, meaning you can get forward. It goes pretty far. I think it catches slightly on the moulding for the hair, but that is still really good. That's looking down perfectly, really. And then the smallest amount of back compared to neutral, it's very minimal, and I'm not huge on that. Realistically, you're not going to have her looking up too often, so it doesn't really matter. And then there's ever so slightly some tilt, but it's so minimal that it's almost not even worth mentioning. At the torso, we do have what I think is a ball, but I'm not completely sure. It could be a dumbbell joint. It's kind of hard to tell, and it's very well covered up to the point where I can't actually see the actual joint, but that allows for okay forward, not great, and then pretty decent back, all things considered. So if you're wanting it to look up, that is definitely an option for how to do it. But yeah, the forward, it's not great, really. At the arm, we have hinge and swivel that goes well past 90, probably actually most of the way up, really, and that obviously goes all the way around. You have single elbow, but it does go up past 90, which is very nice. And then a hinge at the wrist, which goes sideways. Is a fist. I don't mind that. It's not a weapon holding hand. There doesn't seem to be like a proper hinge or anything at the actual waist, though it does seem to turn slightly. Though I don't know if that's something in the actual leg articulation. I'm not sure. It does seem to rotate, but in any case, traffic cone syndrome, the dress kind of prevents it anyway. Speaking of which, you do have out better than some Spider-Man, but that is kind of held back by the actual skirt, so it is cut out on the side, which is pretty nice. You do have a swivel at the thigh, which pretty good. I like it. Double knee, which a little bit tight, but goes a good way up. I don't hate that. These bits of scarf or whatever really do get in the way. And then you have swivel at the boot, which a little bit tight, but it works. And then, of course, it's Marvel Legends figure. You have some forward, some back, decent back actually, and then forward-facing pin for rocker, as is pretty much normal for this. So yeah, overall, like, you can get into pretty good poses, and generally not difficult to stand, which is something that I do appreciate, especially with Gamerverse figures, which I have a history of Gamerverse figures not wanting to do anything, so I'm very happy with this. For accessories, you actually get 2 extra arms from the elbow down, and unfortunately, not only do you actually lose some of the bend at the elbow, it's less than 90 now, but you also lose any wrist articulation, which isn't ideal, but in any case, grip hand on that side, and then on the other one, it's another fist. I quite like this, to be honest. I don't like the lack of articulation, but for showing the embiggening power, I'm all for this. I quite like it. And then for Build-A-Figure parts, you get the chest of Abomination, which is in 2 parts, just clips together. And yeah, unlike the heads that I normally end up putting on the figure, I can't really do anything with this, but yeah, it's something to add to the fodder bin, so that's something. Now, for size comparisons, I have the Gamerverse Marvel's Avengers Iron Man, which I can't get over the fact this feels like it's made out of a cheaper plastic than any of the Legends I've ever had, but I like the sizes. Obviously, they're from the same game, so you'd expect them to be pretty well scaled to each other. I think it works. Each to their own, though. If you're not a fan of that look, you might not be a fan of it. And then the Captain Marvel movie, Captain Marvel. I always mess up naming her, but yeah, she's actually a good bit taller, which is weird because the movie figures usually scale a little bit smaller than the comic and video game characters. But I'm all for that. Obviously, Kamala Khan is a teenager, whereas Carol Danvers is grown up. You know, it makes sense. I'm fine with that, and I do actually kind of like how well they contrast each other while still looking like they're from the same design DNA sort of deal. So yeah, pretty good with Marvel Legends. And then, as is tradition for mixed display usage, we have the first version of the Stormtrooper, battle damaged, and the Siege Soundwave. I always want to call him something different, but yeah, I'm fine with that. This is one of those instances where I don't actually think the Stormtrooper looks short by comparison, but I will stand by what I always say about the Stormtrooper, a little bit short. In any case, yeah, it works for me. And then here she is with Jazzware's Fortnite fish stick. And that brings us to the end of this review. I really do like this figure. I was putting off getting her for a very long time due to the fact that I wasn't a huge fan of the Gamerverse Iron Man from the same wave. But honestly, I'm really happy with this figure. Like, beyond some of the, nitpicks I had about the paint, I think this is going to be my definitive Miss Marvel for at least the immediate future. I may be turned by the MCU version when we get that eventually, but right now, this is great. So that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you next time. Bye!